It's not enough that you come to the lab. You have to give results. So even though you've been there all of this time, if you're not giving results, you're still going to be scolded at, you're still going to
Oh,
be insulted. Um, I'm glad to be here. Okay. The very first thing when you're trying to look for a program, a master's degree program, is to know your interest.
okay.
What exactly is it you want to study? Because, it will help narrow it down. And then once you know exactly what it is, for me personally, it was, as you've already said, media studies. Okay. So once you have that, now you can use university websites to look up if they have scholarships. But now, in my case, I was not fortunate to have a scholarship. The next thing you can do, if you can't find a scholarship, you can also go a little deeper, connect with other students in your field of interest and try to find out if they have like openings in their labs. You can also send out cold emails to professors, kind of reaching out to them if you want to study with them. And with all of that, I feel one is going to click. You'd finally get to have something. I think cold emails are very important. It's true that most people see it like wasting of your time because some professors will not respond to you. Some would come out plain and give you the political statement of, oh, we have a lot more than we need right now, which is still a rejection. But the more you send it out there, you don't know which professor actually needs a student, but hasn't put it out, or you haven't come across this lab. So once you send out those emails, that's why your interest is very important. Because once you know your interest, you go on LinkedIn, find professors in the field of what you want to study, send out emails to them telling them, oh, this is what I'm about. This is what I want to do. I want to come to your lab. But then you also need to study this professor's lab, what it is they offer, read some of their research papers. So in that email, you're showing him how your interests and his interests align.
Line. Oh, fantastic.
So once you
I
do that, one professor, or maybe sometimes if you're lucky, you may have a couple of professors wanting you to come to their lab, and then you have options. Yeah. Rejection is something you must expect. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. You have to expect it because you're going to get it. Now, I also got a lot of rejections. I tried to apply for the Korean government scholarship. I went through the first stage and I was rejected afterwards. I applied for others, even writing to some professors, and I got rejected. So the thing you have to know is it's like trying to ride a bicycle. You can't pick it up and immediately learn how to ride.
okay.
Fall a couple of times. And so you have to be ready that you will get rejection. But that should not stop you from going on, because the more you're sending out those emails, the more you're reaching out there, you are going to find one professor that is going to take you. Okay. This, I'm going to go a little personal here because this is
Okay.
something I experienced. Now, I said from the start that you have to learn how to accept rejection from professors, but it is even worse when you have an admission, maybe you've paid your fees and all of that, and then you go to the embassy and you get no. But this is the thing, your motivation. It's good to
Okay.
have peers around yourself with people of like minds that can push you, but you have to be able to intrinsically motivate yourself. You have to
So,
know why you need this, because if you don't know why you need this, you're going to have problems if you get rejected at the embassy because, like the Korean embassy, for one, in my country, they don't give you reasons why. You walk in, if it's a no, they hand you back your passport and you have to walk out. And you're asking yourself, but I had everything. So why even bother? But that is the catch. If you say that to yourself, why even bother? That is where you go down. But
See.
if you tell yourself, okay, fine, this is one step. I faltered here. I'm not sure what it is, but I have to keep going. You do it again. I was rejected twice. I
Okay.
started my process of going to Korea in 2015, and I actually arrived in 2019. So 4 years. So you have to just be able to push through it and say, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm feeling disappointed right now, but I will not be discouraged. Because between disappointment and discouragement, there is a choice, and that is for you to make. I'm going to talk from two faces. There is the professor and there is support from home. Now, there are some other cases which I may mention of some other people that go about it in another way, but
Yeah.
the two major ways are professor and from home. I was lucky that I got support from my professor because he had a lot of work in the lab. So he would give me some things to do and then I get paid for it. That is one way you can support yourself while going through your studies. Another way is getting funds back from home as well. When I was coming, that was what happened. But when I got here, then I got this opportunity from my professor. Now, there is still another way. There is something they call like a student permission to work as part time, but you have a number of hours. You have 30 hours a week here in Korea. And what happens is there are specific job descriptions that you can do. Now, once you have or you once you're lucky and you get one of these positions, you have to put your documents together, take a contract, go to the immigration, and finalize it in there. I was also lucky. There was this summer when I got like an assistant because Cameroon, you cannot teach English in Korea.
Okay.
But there was this summer camp in which they needed English teachers and English assistants. And because of my TOEFL score,
Okay.
I was taken in as an assistant to assist the teacher in class. And we had to put the whole documents together. We came back to school, put everything and took it to the immigration. And I was granted the visa to work for that specific period. So those are the major ways you can fund yourself out here. Now, there is this class of people that go about it in another way. They go on taking part-time jobs which are not covered by the government and all of that, which some of them get away with it, but it's not something I'll recommend you to do. But then some people do it. So yeah, those are
Okay.
hmm. It's a hard one to really explain. That is why I always talk about intrinsic motivation, because I'll just give you a little rundown of how a research student here in Korea's life is. You go to the lab at 9 a.m. and you close at 6 p.m. Now, in this period of time, from 9 to 6, most of the work being done is not necessarily your personal research. Is if your lab has projects, that is what you're doing in that period. However, you need to do your own personal work. And then, as we spoke about the part time job, you need to be able to fit that in. So, if you have a part time job, let's say, like when I had the summer school where I was an assistant, a teaching assistant,
Okay.
I had to take 3 hours off from the lab to go over to this campsite, which was it was still our university organizing it, so it made it easier for me. But once I had to go there, once I come back, I still have to give the 3 hours back to the lab.
Oh, so that means you work
I
Extra
have
three hours.
extra 3 hours in the lab. And then I need to do my own research. So I may end up leaving the lab 11 p.m., sometimes midnight, and I have to still be back there at 9 a.m. So
Mm,
you literally are telling yourself in this period of time, I'm giving my life to my research and to be able to earn something. Hmm. Well, this one is it's it can be different for everybody, okay? But there's
yes,
one thing
agreed.
on. You're very far from home.
Mm,
You're in another man's land. You don't have family. So it's easy to fall into depression
I
because of
see.
the isolation. And also, I explained to you how the lifestyle is. So the socialization is not that much. And so that is the first thing you have to keep battling with your mind. You have to stay strong mentally for yourself, connect with people that kind of can make you remember why you're worth it. But depression is one thing. Another thing which can really give you a hard time, which also did give me a hard time, is now your research not progressing the way you want it to. It's not enough that you come to the lab. You have to give results. So even though you've been there all of this time, if you're not giving results, you're still going to be scolded at, you're still going to
Wow.
be insulted, and all of that. And so it can be really difficult. But the good thing about it is, end of the day, you become results driven. It's not, oh, but I gave in this much time. Like back home in Cameroon, there's something about if you go to work, that's what you expect people to be like applaud you for the show, applaud you for being there. But now what happens is you start thinking more of it's not just being there, it's about delivering something. So that's it. Um, a little bit. There's one thing I didn't even talk about, the culture shock as well.
Mm,
The culture from back home, where you come from and where you are, may be completely different. About the question of if I experienced depression, I did go through some very hard moments. I lost some loved ones back home when I was
mm,
here. So it was a very difficult moment, but I would say I'm lucky because the answer to the question of how do you come out of that, you need to have loved ones. You need to have valuable relationships, not just only romantic relationships, but I would say positive relationships, friends that you care for each other, honestly caring, not just for the sake of, oh, I can get this out of this person.
mm,
Those are the ways you can get out of it. For instance, during that period in my life, I had my girlfriend, who is now my wife, here, who was by my side. And I also had some friends who literally stopped what they were doing and were checking on me, trying to ensure that I'm in a good place mentally and
mm.
also emotionally. Yeah. The source of my encouragement comes from you need to know where you came from,
Okay.
how things were where you came from. And you're thinking about what you want to do for these people. For instance, some people come from really poor backgrounds, with very little, and maybe your people had to give away something valuable to them, maybe a piece of land or sell something valuable to send you where you are, And so when you're over there, do not just get carried away with everything going on. You meet some people who love partying. I'm not saying partying is a bad thing, but I'm just saying that you meet different kinds of people and you don't have to just run along with the flock. You have to keep thinking, remembering where you came from and what you want to offer to the people you love. Now, for me, I wanted one of the goals of my life was I wanted my kids to have it better than I did. And that was my main source of encouragement. So whether it was how I treated my relationships, how I treated myself, how I treated my research and my career, that was what kept pushing me.
Nice.
For those who want to embark on this journey, I have one thing to tell you. Don't stop. Even if you've gotten a lot of rejections, do not stop because you don't know when it's going to break through for you. I, for one, I went through so many different programs, scholarships, applying. Some of them I got rejected towards the end. And this, which finally worked out, happened without me even realizing it. So just keep pushing, keep believing it's going to happen. And for those who are on the same journey like me, because I'm still on the journey, I'm still out of my land, I'm in a foreign land. So those who are on this journey, please check on those you love all the time. Mental health is very important. You don't know what the next person by you is going through. Always check on them. And for you, always try to remember that there are people who love you. Because the thing about depression is it easily leads to suicide. But if you keep remembering that if you take your life, the people you love are going to be hurt back here on planet Earth. It's also going to help you to try to fight through it, to talk to somebody, get some help, meet a medical practitioner who can help you and all of that, therapist. So that's just the advice I can give.